Hola, Wine and Chisme familia. We've got some exciting news to share. The Wine and Chisme now has a voicemail line. That's right, you can literally call us, leave your thoughts, questions, or even suggest topics you want us to dive into on future episodes. Whether you want to share how an episode resonated with you, or ask about previous wines we've featured, or even tell us about your own chisme, we want to hear your voice. Porque este podcast has always been about connection, and now we can make that connection even more real. So grab your phone and call us at 858-304-0266. Leave us a message, tell us your name, where you're calling from, and whatever's on your heart. Who knows? Your voice might be featured on an upcoming episode. Because at the end of the day, Wine and Chisme is about all of us coming together, sharing our stories, and celebrating our community. Now, be a part of the podcast in a whole new way. Again, that number is 858-304-0266. We want to hear from you. Yes. Mi gente, I'm so excited. You know, this is like my second vineyard visit in 2 days while being in Oregon. So it was Cremosi, and now we're here at Balanza Vineyards. I even convinced my mom to come along for the ride because she still gets confused of what I do. She's just like she has a podcast. I don't know what she does. I don't know what's going on, but I convinced her to come out.
That's awesome.
Hey, she's supportive where she needs to be, even if she has no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to follow you now.
Yeah. Yes.
She told me about it. I go, what?
I know. So really the whole thing is I started the podcast over 5 years ago. February we celebrated 5 years. And at the beginning I used to just go to like Trader Joe's or the grocery store or Bevmo or whatever to get wines. And I'm like, there has to be Latino owned wineries out there. There has to be. Why? And I started looking. Mostly it was in Oregon. I'm not. Mostly it was obviously in Napa and Sonoma, and it was the same like 10 to 20 wineries on every single list. And I was like, there has to be more. So I found MAVA, the Mexican American Vintners Association.
Oh, really?
Then they started pointing me in the direct. They want to include more. They want all Latino Americans in there. Like they don't just. They want it.
Yeah.
But then they started saying, yeah, like you should know about this one. You should know about this one. And then the more that I would know, the more they would point me in the direction of other brands, other labels, until I was like, you know what? Why don't? And I never saw a directory, and I was like, why do we not have a directory? Mm-hmm. And then that's when I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna do it. If it's not out there, I guess I'll do it. And I met Sam, so I knew that there was some in Oregon. So we made sure, and you guys were on, like have been on it since day one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we found you guys and we've been on it. So please introduce yourselves because I'm so excited to be here and start tasting the wines.
All right. So I'm Kerry Balanza. Chaly and I have been married. Every time I have to count, almost 20 years. 20 years. We're going on 20 years. And this Oregon wine adventure is our baby. It's something that we are just so passionate about, and we love, and love the community here. Love Sophia, love all of the community that we get to work with here. So just really glad you found us and we get to share our project with you.
Yes.
I'm Chaly Balanza. Yo soy de Bolivia. Hablo en español.
Sí.
Yeah. No fue nada intencional lo que hicimos. Fue algo que pasó cuando vinimos acá a visitar. Y nos enamoramos de este lugar porque es tan lindo, tan bello, y los vinos, ¿para qué hablar de los vinos, no?
Yeah.
Y los vinos son los mejores en realidad del mundo. So we decided to plant it, and that's the way it started. And the community was just so great because they helped us a lot.
Yeah.
Nobody...
Hold it a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, everybody wanted to help. Mm-hmm. It was so great, in the community.
And so how old were you when you came from Bolivia?
Oh, I was teenager. I was actually 19 when I moved this way.
So did you, because I saw on the website that you guys were from Texas.
Right. Yeah.
So did you go from Bolivia to Texas to Oregon?
I had a scholarship. I played tennis for school.
Oh.
That's the only reason that I moved to the United States. Otherwise, probably
And you
still
were going to college in Texas?
in Texas.
Where did you go?
Yes. I went to Navarro Junior College, which is a small
Mhm.
college, and then UT Arlington.
Oh, okay. I lived in Dallas for 15
Oh,
years.
okay.
Yeah, so I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. So, you know, one thing led to another one. You know, you start working, and it's a little difficult to move back. And I met Kerry.
You meet a girl.
Yeah. And I met a girl.
That made it even
Yes.
more difficult to
Yes.
move back.
But it was one of those things that I told my mom, actually. You know, if I meet a girl and, you know, we're going to have kids, it's going to be difficult to move back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here we are. You know, like I said, this is not intentional. It's just,
It
just happened.
It unfolded for us.
Yes.
And tennis brought you two good things. It brought you to the United States, and that's
Right.
how we met on a tennis court.
Yes.
Ah, there you
No
go.
modern digital dating
Yeah.
service, just accidentally. one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It always in Bolivia, is there a wine? Because I always say, like, when we grew up, where we grew up, especially Mexican Americans, right, and several Latino Americans,
Yeah.
like when we go to parties, like wine was not part of us growing up, right? It was like always beer and liquor, but
Right.
wine was never part of the like our growing up culture.
Yeah.
So I found it in my 20s and became a lover of wine. But is there a wine culture in Bolivia, or when did you start getting introduced to wine?
It's not really a culture in Bolivia, but my dad grew up in a wine country. And I remember this.
In
when we-
Bolivia?
in
There's a
Bolivia.
wine country
Yeah.
in Bolivia?
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, we
yeah,
just
this-
visited this year. And
Wow.
It's amazing. It's
yeah.
similar to what you would find in Mendoza. In
Uh-huh.
Rico
Oh,
Valley.
okay,
So
yeah.
high elevation, super pretty fruit.
We brought a book about
The Bolivian.
vineyards, the wine culture in Bolivia. You know, it's a small section,
Uh-huh.
but you know the wines are improving.
That's so cool. I mean, yeah, we'll have to I would love to get to know what kind of wines do they make in that area.
There's Tenant. They make some cabs. There's some Petit Bordeaux, Cabernets, Malbecs. Malbecs is growing a lot more.
But I think the pretty part is because you're up in the altitude.
Mm-hmm.
They're growing like bigger fruit because they have so much sun. The sun's so intense in Bolivia, and but then the nights are cool. I mean, the temperatures were like Oregon, and so there's this wonderful combination of these like darker fruit tones, but then like soft.
Yeah.
And so it was really. I mean, it was fun to explore. This is the first time I've been back to Bolivia with Chaly many times, but this is the first time we got to travel to that region where his dad grew up and to see the agriculture and the wine. So
That's
fun.
cool. Well, I want to. Okay, so we're starting off with everything you guys do here is Pinot Noirs, right?
So everything we're sharing today is from Pinot Noir, grown right here on our estate, and we do one Chardonnay where we get fruit from one of our neighbors. But this is we call this our porch swing rosé. It's 100% Pinot Noir. I fell in love with rosé in the south of France. Charlie's been enjoying it with me for years. And so we're trying to recreate those flavor tones. And so we actually have two, like 4 rows here and 4 rows here in the vineyard, 2 different clones that we put together for this rosé. And the first one's like fruity and strawberry.
I was about to say, the first thing I smelled was strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, you want to smell it, Mom?
Yeah.
My mom, like I said, my mom's not a big wine person, but I want her to experience. Do you want to taste it? I'll let you taste it before me, even.
Yeah, and it's super,
what a good daughter.
It's super light, yeah. It's super light, perfect for like a warm day. That's not bad. Yeah.
Did you see how
All
slow?
right.
I know, and not bad. Did you even see how slow she did that?
Yeah.
She's like, let me just barely touch the lips. Oh, I have my microphone, so.
So the second clone we use is a Swiss clone of Pinot Noir also.
Oh,
but
that's
it's like
good.
a little, thank you.
It's really good.
Thank you.
Really light, definitely fruit with like the citrus in the back.
Mhm.
That's really
a
good.
little bit of acidity, a little
Yeah.
bit of floral. That's what we're sort of
Yeah.
pulling from the Wadensville fruit. So
Oh, that's
every year
good.
it's like trying to find the right balance between there. So
You know, at like when you're smelling it, it almost smells like just a tad bit of like lemongrass.
yeah,
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 that's
I
it.
could get that.
That's good.
Yeah. But you know, when we were
I'm still, believe me, I'm still learning. I have my W set one, but I always tell people when they're like, "How do you know?" And I'm like, "Well, any herb, any fruit, just smell it.
yes.
Smell everything when you're cooking, when you're
Mhm.
like, smell everything because." And then I do have my wheel as well because sometimes there's things you can't identify,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, like the general flavor profile, but you can't identify like, and that helps us a
Yeah.
lot as well.
It's good to have that like little teaser just to kind of engage your
Yes.
brain on that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, Rosé is, I mean, we as a family, we play pétanque, we, grill all day. We play the French game of boules since our kids were little. So it's just always been something that we enjoy. Of course, living in Texas, this is definitely something you would drink a lot of.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets so hot and
yeah.
humid. It's,
Mhm.
oof, let me tell you, I don't miss those. I don't miss that weather at all.
I know. Well, it was, I think, on our move out to Oregon, we had experienced a summer of 100 days of 100 degrees. And
Oh, so that
we
was
come to this glorious place.
so 2008,
Nine.
nine. Because
11
I
was our
lived there
first
then.
visit.
That's when
Oh,
I
yeah.
I moved back from Dallas in 2017 is when I moved back to
Okay.
California.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember that. And we missed it by like one day. And everybody was so mad because they're like, we just had to endure 99 days of over 100-degree weather. We could have just hit that last day to get 100 days.
Don't even get
like,
the record.
yeah, we didn't even get the right. It was so bad.
I know.
Wow.
And Dallas especially gets really hot.
Yeah. I mean, I lived
It's-
like where it was nice because how you parked was like you parked on your level, but my air conditioner had gone out.
oh,
So by the time I had just freshly
impossible.
showered everything. By the time I got to get out to the gate, I was already sweating. It
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so
You
gross.
cannot do without
No.
air conditioning. No.
And then Houston is even worse.
oh
Houston,
yeah,
yeah.
it's humid.
And it smells like a foot.
It's interesting down there. My sister lived her whole life down in Houston. She's down in Brenham area right now, so it's
Well, we have my dad's brother and my Theo lives in Katy.
oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, so we've gone down there a few times and everything, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, but I'm happy to be back in San Diego.
Yeah, get those nice breezes.
Yes. This is so good. This is definitely a great this is a good also just in general to somebody who may not like wine. This is a good introductory
So,
wine.
yeah, it's super approachable. And then I get teased all the time because I'm like, we're a rosé every day kind of family, and it's like I'm like, it's the wine we start with. Just when things are casual. Of course, in in Chaly's Latin family, barbecues are not just like an hour; they're like multiple hours. So this is
we know.
Parrillada.
Yeah.
That's what we call it, parrillada.
Okay, we always just say carne asada.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
Mhm.
from the Mexican side. Oh, you're
Yeah.
like when they say, "Oh, you're invited to the carne asada."
Yeah.
So what was your first experience with wine, Chaly?
I had some. Well, I was telling you this story about my dad when I was young kid. My dad, when we traveled to Tarija, the wine country, my dad used to go and get one of those 5-gallon jars.
Oh yeah.
And he'll go to any vineyard and go, can I buy some wine? And they will sell it to him.
In a
From the
5-gallon
barrel.
jug.
Yes.
I'm gonna stick it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, but it was, my my mom, they used to get embarrassed about it just because, no, you can't. You haven't been invited, right? But this is so funny out there. The people are just so nice. You go and knock the door, and they say, "Come on in." Everybody were so nice. People were just wonderful people. They will let you in, and if they were cooking, they said, "No, you're gonna sit here. We're gonna eat together. And we're gonna drink some wines." And the wines were okay. I mean, they were not the best wines, but it was just that the
Community.
welcoming, the
The community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So those were my first experiences.
That's so great because it wasn't like it was about the drinking, it was about the community. So
Right.
that's what you associated
Yeah.
with wine, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, let's welcome. My first experience with wine was my mom's wine coolers.
Oh, yes, I remember those.
Yeah. So we used to have a house that my parents converted the garage into like a family room, but they
Uh-huh.
kept part like an extra fridge and freezer
Yes.
and washer dryer in that area. And my mom used to put her wine coolers, and we would sneak her wine coolers.
They were in a vulnerable spot, were they?
Yeah, because their room was on the other side of the house.
Gosh,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
And what
But
was your first
well,
experience, Carrie?
but I want to finish this whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, oh yeah,
because
yeah.
Yeah.
I experienced more better wines with Carrie.
Yeah.
Because I was more a big beer drinker, and
Mhm.
Carrie would just get all this nice French wines. And
Yeah.
Luring and
yes, you gotta try this. Okay, so it was little by little.
Yeah. But it was, you were open to trying it.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I would say for me, I grew up in Oklahoma, and our family wasn't into to drinking wines per se. I mean, occasionally my parents would have something, but it wasn't something normal or regular.
Mhm.
But I went to work in the tech industry, and that took me traveling. And I guess I'll say this because some of my old tech boys will laugh about this. But I worked for a British company. Wasn't that fond of British food and cuisine. So I found myself like darting down to the south of France and having a little stay before I came back home. To
Oh,
Texas
just
at the
a little
time.
dart to the south of France.
Well, I mean, when you can get an easy jet flight
Yeah.
for $49, of course you would do that. But I fell in, and I think one of the things that brings Charlie and I together is I fell in love with the way the cooking and the wine was always together with friends around the table. And it was a very intentional, and I think that's what drew us together. And that's one of the things I really love about the Latin culture. I have a lot of friends from South America down in Texas, but it was just the gathering of family, wine on the table, super casual, doesn't have to be fancy. It's just being together, and that was a really intentional thing that we shared. Is that we wanted our family to operate that way. We wanted our kids to be used to friends and family gathering, and they have poured many wine glasses at our parties. But so for me, it was France, and I when we share our wines, and the French certainly inspire our wine. We work with a French winemaker on the Pinots that you'll have today. But it was, my love language would be Provence for Rosé, Chablis, of course Burgundy, Sancerre. I mean, those are the wines that
I
just
have not
love.
been to France yet, and I can't wait till I get to go. But next year I'm going to Italy for the first time.
Oh, Italy.
I've already asked so it's for my nephew's. It's my nephew's trip that I'm gifting him for his graduation.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, you down to do some wine tasting? So I'm excited to like
Ooh.
experience that with him for the first time.
Mhm.
We both get to kind of experience that together.
Yeah.
And I think like I love that, you can do it with everything, but I just feel like with wine, there's just something about like getting together with wine and everybody gets to share their stories and share their over this one bottle,
Yeah.
right? Versus like having beer or liquor or whatever. It's just not this unless you're having a really high end tequila or mezcal where you're doing the same like smelling and really enjoying the whole experience. Like there's just wine's really the only thing that you do that with.
Well, and I think that's a great. I think those high end mezcal or tequila is a great parallel because for me the wines capture the place also.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about who's growing it, what's being expressed. So that makes it part of that memory. It's not just a bottle you put on the table.
Yeah. So
Yes,
what's our next
Yeah.
one?
So I thought we would try our 21 Pinot Noir. So this is all estate grown fruit, and I think one of the things that's interesting about our wines. Oh, I'll wait for you. Is because we planted the vineyards, so the land didn't have anything planted on it. I always say if you're not a tall tree, if you are a flower, a plant, or a vine, we put you here. And so
And this is like your property, what you guys see in the back.
yeah,
This is their property.
Our
It's
little
beautiful.
spot. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's hard because you have to wait for a vineyard to grow up and begin to express itself. But it's also, we got to taste every wine, and we did. We drank every wine that was on an east-facing slope in this part of the Dundee Hills, and we talked to every winemaker, every cellar master about what clones were in there, even if they weren't on the bottle. We had to get to the bottom of it. And so what we were able to plant is really what Chaly and I love the most. And so this wine, the heart of it is a clone called Dijon 667. I think of it as sort of the dark cousin of the 777. 777 is going to be bright cherry, and Dijon 667 is just going to have like a little darker cherry, a little sometimes tobacco, a little bit of spice. We also use the 777 in this wine, and then the third clone is Pommard. And Pommard, all of our soil is volcanic soil, and so Pommard will just bring this like elegance and sometimes a little floral, and so we can kind of build the profile that's similar to the wines that we love. And so we don't have a big giant portfolio, but we have wines that really show you what we like.
Yeah, this is actually, I was reading Sophia's like things in regards to some of the clones that she's using as well, and I know she's using some. I think she's using some similar ones. 667, I think.
The Sophia, the one I think that's named after her. Her and I share this, which it's the Dijon 667.
Because I remember seeing so I remembered that from. This is, you could definitely smell like you want to smell the difference, Mom, from the first one. That you don't have to taste it if you don't want. You can.
This smells more stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. A rosé is always going to be just very light on the alcohol, and then our Pinot Noirs are not heavy by comparison with other red wines, but they just got a little bit more body to them.
Well, salud. We didn't do that. Was our first one. Salud. So where did the name come from?
I love that you asked that.
It's Spanish name. Of course, for my dad. That side.
Really?
Balanza, yeah.
It was like the last name, like that apellido?
It's Chaly's family's name.
Oh, okay.
And it's not really, well, it wasn't popular last name. When I was a kid, I used to go to the phone book. Do you know what the phone book is?
Yeah, no, I do remember that. I remember phone book. I'm not as young as I look.
But when we were kids, we used to go to it and say, "Oh, Balanza, Jose Balanza and Julia Balanza." That was my aunt and my dad. That was the only two.
Oh, wow.
Then you see somebody else. That there were three, but it's sort of like we had a maybe connection, with the other Balanzas, but you don't see. It's not a really big last name.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, so my mom's maiden name is Yanez. And you don't see very many Yanez around. So when I see one, I'm like, oh, I wonder if we're related somehow. Because you don't see it very often. Like, my dad's last name is Perez, which is super common. You see that all the time. But Yanez, you don't see very often.
Yeah. I had some friends in school in Bolivia, Yanez.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My grandpa was from Jalisco, Mexico.
Okay.
So that's where my grandpa's side is from. But it's just always so interesting when you hear these certain names, because I hadn't heard that name before.
No, it is a very common, but there's...
it's scale. Balanza means scale.
Balance.
Right? I was like balance.
Balance. And that's what the wine's supposed to be, like well balanced.
It's kind of a really like a poetic way to name your winery Balanza, when that's what you're always striving for in each bottle, right? Is balance, and that's kind of what we strive for in life, right? Is balance. Yes. Everything kind of, you don't want everything too much of anything. You want just enough of everything.
And that was sort of the other thought. I mean, of course, with a family name like that, and to honor his family, we definitely wanted to use Balanza. But also when we got married, my friends thought it was immensely hilarious that my last name was going to be Balanza, because I would say I'm like more the go, and Chaly is more the like,
Zen,
just holding it
Relax,
together and
yeah.
relaxing everything. And so, so I mean, I think
you guys balance each other
we
out.
do balance each other out. Being on the back of the label, we sort of talk about that part of us coming to Oregon was to be out in nature. We had jobs that didn't allow us a lot of overlap time together. We wanted to do something that we could do together. And so, yeah, so it's also part of that story.
When did you guys move to Oregon?
So we came out here. It was
That's
the end of 14, and it wasn't necessarily planned, but we planted the vineyard in November of 14.
Oh wow, that's quick.
So yeah, and so once those babies were in the ground, we just looked at each other and we were like, we're not getting any younger, and if we're gonna go out and do it, let's get out there now. And so we came out here. This property was owned by a neighbor. So we were trying to manage and figure out what we were going to do. And then through lots of circumstances, we ended up buying their house, and it needed a complete remodel. So several years of remodeling and getting and planting and all of that.
What was your first harvest? What year?
17.
17, yeah. This one.
Wow. But so you guys are not just a winery, you're a B&B as well. So what prompted you to be like, you know what? If this isn't enough, let's go ahead and add not an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast on top of, starting a winery from scratch.
I know it's maybe it feels a little crazy sometimes.
Yes.
But
The thing was, this area was covered with trees, big trees, the Douglas firs. And when we decided to cut some of the trees, we saw the view.
yeah.
And it was just amazing, this view that you see it. So, and Kerry goes, I think it'll be a little selfish for us not to show this to people.
Aw.
Not to share it.
Yeah, we should. And the house, I mean, we never, planned to have a house
No.
this big.
Our house was quite modest in Texas. I mean, we had great outdoor spaces, but we did not need a big rambly house. And our kids were off in the world and all of that. And we're both from big families. And so it felt, I mean, we've never been in the hospitality business, so we knew with that. But sharing it just seemed like that was what we needed to do. So.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, starting a winery was like planting vines is already a daunting task, right? Because it's not something that happens overnight.
Right.
So people are also not only coming here they're coming here for the wine, they're coming here for the view, they're coming here for the relaxation.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure everything was but that when you guys are starting this. You're like
1,000% not that when we started.
Yeah.
Oh my
We
gosh.
drank a lot of rosé after work.
Yeah.
Oh, I would imagine.
Well, that's why we call it porch swing rosé, because we would drink it down in our tree every day after work. But I think the other thing that inspired us is when we came is how the wineries welcomed us, is how the places we stayed welcome us. So we we fell in love with Oregon. We know what it's like to come here for the first time and to experience these hills and taste these wines. And so we get to watch that unfold with group after group after group that stays with us. And it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people? So I love when we talk to Sophia from Cremosi. I love how she's like, we don't call them our workers, we call them our field stewards, our vine stewards.
Yeah.
So when it came to like finding the right crew and everything, obviously we know that I think the number's actually higher. When I looked up, they said 80% of agricultural workers come from our community. I think it's actually higher than that.
Yeah.
But in regards to balancing being brand new to the industry, building an Airbnb, trying to find crew, but then also I feel like there's just from all of the vintners that I've talked to, there seems to be a special bond between the vintners and the field stewards, especially when they come from Latino communities.
Correct.
Yes.
When the brand owner is Latino, and being able to like have an experience with their field stewards that maybe somebody else has it. How has that experience been for you?
It's been great. I mean, there's a lot of confidence that happens, trust. Just seeing the language also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always talk to them in Spanish. But we like that, talk to me in Spanish also. Nothing's gonna happen.
That little bit closer.
Great people.
Yeah.
Absolutely knowledgeable in the industry, and you trust them. You trust these people, what they do, and they work hard.
And there's so much pride in how they approach it.
Correct.
So I mean, I always think of in the stories that we share with guests, they really understand how important the crew is to us. There's one guy on our crew who he picks the fruiting cane every year. He is the guy, and I love the day when he does it because he's the only one in the vineyard. And he's just walking through the vines and he's looking and studying and saying that these are going to be the best growing canes for next year. And he marks all of that. And then the next day the crew comes in and turns everything else away and ties those down. And it's just, he's such an important part. And he's just so revered and honored by everybody that he does that for. And then we had this great, spraying in the vineyard when you're growing Pinot Noir, to keep all the clusters healthy is such an important role. And we decided to take on a little plot of our neighbor's vineyard that had a little bit of a hard time. And the gentleman that does our spraying, he tells Javier, he says,
that's my dad's name.
Yeah. So Javier, tells us at the beginning of the season, we're gonna start working on this. We don't know if we're gonna be able to get it healthy. And he goes, I am going to make the best fruit. And all season long, he just poured his love into this little section of vineyard. Yep. And that year, that fruit turned around. It was beautiful. And just so, I mean, how can you not love the people that are behind that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're so giving with their talents, and they feel very much like part of our family.
Wine break. Time to refill that glass and come back for more Wine and Chisme. Hello, Wine and Chisme familia. If you're loving this conversation, don't let it end here. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Wine and Chisme for behind-the-scenes moments, wine recommendations, and daily doses of chisme between episodes. And if you don't already know, we bring these conversations to YouTube as well. Subscribe to our channel so you can see the full experience, the laugh, the tears, the wine pours, and those moments when the chisme gets real. Plus, don't miss out on our bi-weekly Spill the Chisme newsletter. Get exclusive content, wine picks, and all the chisme delivered straight to your inbox. Head to thewineandchismepodcast.com to subscribe, or just DM me the newspaper emoji on Instagram and I'll hook you up. Your support helps us amplify more voices and share more stories that matter. Now, let's get back to this conversation because it's about to get even better. Yeah, when we put together the directory, the slogan is, we not only work the land, we own the brands.
Yeah.
That's kind of the slogan for the directory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really important for people to know and to recognize, all of that hard work. In fact, I was talking to David Salazar from Reclamacion Wines out in Napa and Sonoma. And he was saying how, he did go to school. Like his parents came from Mexico. He's first gen. His parents worked in the vineyards and everything. And he really wanted to follow that, but he decided to go to school to learn the craft and everything. And he said out of 30 students, there were maybe 5 Latino students.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so lovely to see so many more people like saying, like, no, I'm going to own something. I'm going to own this. I'm going to build this. There's so many people that even like their parents came for the Bracero program, right?
Yeah.
And they saw that and they decided, like, you know what, one day my parents are working so hard. One day I'm going to own a piece of this.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to create my own brand. Like my mom's dad, he used to manage the like citrus and avocado fields in San Diego.
Oh yeah.
So I always feel like, and I remember that because my grandma used to sometimes take me. I was really little and everything, but I still remember it. And to me, I feel like we have to give the shout out to those workers because and show them so much respect because it's hard backbreaking labor. My grandpa used to let me like go pick oranges and lemons and avocados. These guys are probably like, I thought it was fun, but I was a little kid, right? Because these guys are probably like, this little girl thinks it's so fun. We're working so hard out here. But without them, like it would be completely different.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
I know that because I am with them.
Mm-hmm.
During harvest, I am with them.
Yeah.
I'm working also with them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just not.
Do you guys ever get volunteers for harvest?
It's a little difficult to get volunteers because these guys get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they get paid by the bucket.
Yeah.
And if we have some volunteers, which is going to be a little slower process.
Oh yeah.
We don't want to slow them down, and we don't.
Yeah.
Want to,
we prefer these guys to.
Yeah.
If you want to come and pick afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good
I mean,
thing.
even us picking, we're too slow. Like
Oh,
we have done it for our own little projects if we're experimenting with something. But this section of the vineyard that's in the backdrop, we harvest this whole section in one morning.
Oh wow.
The crew shows up, right when the sun comes up. So maybe 6 at that time of the year, usually middle, second half of September. Maybe a crew of, what would you say, 12, 15 people. And they will pick almost 6 tons of fruit.
They have, I mean, it's a process. You watch these videos, even like with the strawberry fields, the lettuce fields, everything. Yeah. And I'm like, one person does one and they're already like throwing their basket to the next person because they're already done. Yeah. Was grandpa like, were his workers fast, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a certain way that you have
right.
To, they're so fast.
That's the story. The very first time when we had a crew picking, I gathered, like bananas and waters and drinks and everything else. We started picking, and then we get to a point, and I go, "Okay, guys, let's take a break."
We have food because, of course,
no.
we do, right?
They just said no. We got to continue. Just because they get paid by the bucket, they want to continue. They want to move on somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But they always get goodies.
Oh, because they do multiple vineyards.
Yeah, so they'll pick here in the morning, and they'll do 1 or 2 more sites, usually in this area that day. So they work really hard. They're super professional. We have managed to get them to eat something before they head to their next site, but, so we have worked that out. But yeah, they're amazing.
What is like because obviously in Oregon, in this area, their temperature is more mild, but it's been creeping up a lot more in recent years. How have you guys noticed that's been affecting your vines and your grapes?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I think that of course, Oregon in general, certainly compared to California, is cooler. But we dry farm. We don't irrigate our vineyards. We're Pinot Noir. We want it to really express the season. So the temperature has put pressure on the ripening. So we're seeing the fruit ripen. The pick dates come a little earlier. But we're changing the way we do our canopy. We're leaving more leaves on to create more shade. We're paying attention to the rootstocks and things that we select. So, the wines are beautiful. But it is sort of putting a little bit of pressure. We do tell a story. Our daughter got married in June of 21, and I don't know if you remember, maybe your nephew does, but there was like a heat dome that happened on that weekend. And
I remember in 2020 too, because I drove up here and my sister's air conditioning broke. And so 2 of my nephews came back with me. They're like, we're out of here.
No more of that.
Yeah.
We didn't come here for that. So that weekend of our daughter's wedding. So since it was June, it's like the end of June. We had 105 the first day and 115 the next day. And, we're new farmers, so we're just learning what this was in 21. So we're learning what the vineyard is doing. And because it was early in the season, the little grapes were small. the vines just went to sleep. You literally could tell that they were like, we are not going to grow under these conditions. We're going to just stop right now. We're going to take a pause. And when this weather returns, we'll start growing again. And they did. And it was just like such a resilient thing to watch. Now, if that heat would have happened at the end of the season, it's a very different story because it can really damage the fruit. But early in the season, you just saw the vines kind of adapt to the situation that they were in. So meanwhile, the guests at our daughter's wedding did not adapt. They were like, we came from Texas for 115 degrees in Oregon. They were not thrilled with that.
Yeah, no, right? I wouldn't be either.
No.
But at least you don't have, like, they have more humidity than you guys
True.
have here. So,
and it cools off at night.
yeah, there it doesn't.
It does
It'll
not.
still be, because I was saying to my husband, he's like, because in San Diego, it's still cool. So I tell people in the summer, bring a sweater, bring a light jacket. You don't need anything heavy. Bring a sweatshirt, something, because it cools off. And where we live right by the bay. So it really cools off at night. And he goes, but it stays. I'm like, the hottest it stays is maybe high 70s, low 80s. And that's rare that it stays that hot overnight. I'm like, when I lived in Texas, it would still be 95, 96, 97 degrees in the middle of the night and humid.
Yes.
It was horrible.
Yes.
My parents wanted to move back. My dad wanted to move back to Texas in Brownsville.
Oh,
And I told my parents they weren't going anywhere. You guys can't go anywhere. You can't be that far from your daughters.
yeah.
So I think they gave it up now of going to Texas.
For you, just a little bit more wine.
All right, this is
This
your
is the 2019 version of the wine you had.
Ooh.
And I share the 19 because for us, so we planted the vineyard in 14.
This one's a little strong. You can tell it's a little bit stronger, or the scent's a little bit stronger.
Yeah. So I picked this vintage to share because our vineyard was planted in 14. And as the vineyard's growing up, 17 we got pretty nose, but you could feel the youth in the vineyard. I always refer to the 18th vineyard Chaly and I do after raising a couple of girls.
That one definitely you taste like a little bit of leather, like the leather in that one.
Yeah.
I get so excited when I actually because the more you drink, the more you know, the more you smell it. So especially when the winemakers are like, yeah, I get so excited. It's been 5 years that I've been doing this and I still get super excited.
Well, that's the beauty of wine is it always reveals something.
Yeah.
But so this vintage to us, 17 was our first vintage. We kind of refer to 18 as our adolescent toddler vintage because it was a super hot year. We were wrangling the vineyard. It grew too much fruit. We're dropping fruit. We're doing all these things. And in 19, at the beginning of the vintage, we always joke. We're like, all right, we're ready. After 18, we've got our fatigues on.
You turned 21.
We're ready. And then the vineyard just settled down. So it grew the right amount of fruit. And so it's the first vintage for me that is sort of it's all kind of coming together.
Yeah, it's still really light, but it's for a Pinot Noir. It definitely has some heft to it.
Yeah. That's that 667 that Sophia.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
really good. We had her white Pinot, and it was so. I'd had white Merlot, but I had never had a white Pinot, and it was so good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I love when I can taste
A little bit of spice.
a little bit of spice in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so and that's one of the reasons we try and give wine tips and wine this and wine that because so many of us don't grow up with that. We don't learn about it. And then you grow up thinking wine is bougie. You think wine is not meant for you because, it's meant for people that have a lot of money or this or that. So it's one of my goals is to really help dispel that. And I think when people feel the connection with their culture, they're like, oh, my people are making this. And oftentimes, I would actually love to hear your pick because oftentimes especially when a lot of Latino winemakers, it's you know the flavors of your community. So you're also kind of making wines that go with ingredients from your community that will pair well with ceviches or in Mexican culture, enchiladas, tamales, whatever.
Ceviche wine, right?
Yeah, for sure. So what is your approach to the wine when it comes to those type of flavor profiles and connecting it with culture?
The good thing about Pinot is that you can practically pair it with
Everything.
because it is soft. It's beautiful. It's got flower notes that you can pair it. With good chicken, or there's some other ones. It could be a little more to do with the steak.
This would
But
be
it's
like a good
still
mole, like a good mole
very
wine
good.
to pair with mole.
Exactly. Yeah, it can pair with anything. My experience, I can drink the Pinot with anything.
But
For myself,
the fruit stands up nice to a little
Absolutely.
bit of. I mean, the spices Chaly brings back from Bolivia are a little subtle, a little.
I've
different.
never had Bolivian food. So what's a good like example of something from Bolivia that these would, I know it pairs with everything, but like something that you really get excited about from like a Bolivian food that you like to
Yeah,
pair with your
there's
wines.
actually there's this really traditional dish. They call it the Sajta de pollo. It's Quechua, which is a language in Bolivia. Sajta, which is it's a mix. What it means is like mixed with the spices chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made with a I don't know if you heard about chuño. It's dehydrated potatoes. The Incas
Oh wow.
in Bolivia actually potatoes originated. So to save the potatoes, they used to freeze them, and then they will dry them, which it becomes a little black, sort of like a rock, and it
Right.
can last forever. And
And that's a potato?
It is a
That is a
potato. Yeah, it's a
potato.
potato.
Wow.
And it's the way that they preserved it, so then they would have this food throughout the whole year.
You soak it in water when you're ready to eat it, and then you can make whatever you want to make.
A lot of soups
Usually with soup, so you can make sort of like with egg. You mix it sort of like a egg salad, something like that. But it goes really well with this Pinot, the chicken. The chicken is a little spicy. It's not too spicy.
Right.
Not big and powerful, but just all the layers of spice are really pretty.
Mexico has so many varieties of chiles.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's this in Bolivia.
We like our spicy food for sure.
Yeah. The same in Bolivia. It's a little less spicy than it is.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny because when you go to different, like when we went to Costa Rica, they are not about spice, right? You go to other Latin America, there's very few that are about. My mom used to like spicy, but her brothers used to stuff chiles in her mouth when she's the youngest of 10.
No.
So she's like, I don't like spicy anymore.
Yeah.
So actually, fun fact.
Yeah.
My friend Karen Vidangos, she's Bolivian as well.
Oh, really?
And she lives in New York. She is actually the social media manager for the Met Museum.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to let her know
Yes.
about you guys, and I'll send her. I'll specifically send her the episode when it comes out and everything. But I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna love this. She's gonna love. So I'm gonna have to let her know because, with the Met Gala that happened, she was all the social media that you saw that came from the Met. It was her and her team.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we love seeing our community rise up and do big things and and support community and just we always love giving our shout outs.
There's also this pastries called salteñas, which is really, sweet, spicy, and
it's so delicious.
It's also with a Pinot, we pair it.
Be perfect.
Oh, nice.
Well, and that's one of the things we're working on. So like the bringing the kunape recipe back from Chaly's sister taught me that when I was just there. Because
this is it, right?
This is it. Yeah, this is like a little. It's sort of like a mix between a cheese puff and a cheese biscuit.
And it's
my mom already ate hers.
And it's yuca.
I love yuca.
Yeah, so it's cheese and yuca flour, and all.
Oh, that's good.
But for wine tastings, we want to be able to share things that really represent the Bolivian culture.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things that we're beginning to collaborate on is there's an empanada house in Portland. And we featured their empanadas at one of our wine events because we're trying to bring as much South American, kind of food to the table. And kind of through that process, we've talked about going back to things like the salteñas and some of the other foods in Bolivia and working with them on bringing those flavors into the empanadas. So those are things that people can experience
Oh
with
yeah.
us, and we can talk about the culture that we love. So
This is so good.
oh, good! I'm glad you like
Yeah.
It's
it.
very good. It does have a little bit of like a Brazilian cheese bread.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's a little bit denser,
Mhm.
but it's so
Oh,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It is a good snack, I think, on on
It's
a
a
cheese
pr-
platter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I
yeah.
am a cheese and charcuterie. Like I could have that for dinner
I know.
multiple times a week, not a night.
Yeah.
That might be a problem. Okay, well now I get to taste it with this. So
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So Mexico.
Oh,
has-
yeah.
Mhm.
oh my gosh, it goes so well.
Yeah.
It doesn't like overpower it. It
Exactly.
doesn't. It still tastes like.
Mhm.
I always tell people when if you're going tasting, if you're eating, like even if you go to a restaurant, whatever, like always taste your wine before your food,
Yeah.
so you can taste.
So you can see.
Yeah.
It clean
And then you get to like after you take a bite, then take another drink and see
Mhm.
how the
Mhm.
flavor profile changes after you eat, because like when you go through the training like W said or whatever, they have you do that. And I remember I forget, I had a Maria, the galleta de
Yeah.
Maria,
Yeah.
because I love
Oh.
those. We have those all the time. Yeah, I love them. They were dangerous in our house and at my mom's house. They're so dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I had that, and then I forget what wine we were pairing it with, and I was like, oh my gosh, like the wine by itself was good, but as soon as you paired it with that, you're like,
You're like,
oh
Why
my
would you-
gosh,
You don't
because they
know
give
what?
you little bottles to try.
Oh.
So you have to like, yeah, so they give you, and it's like a course that you're taking and everything, and then you paired it with something else and you see the complete difference and how the wine opened up with with this already, with the galleta. I was telling him how the Maria galletas are dangerous in our house, because the Marias, the cookies, because they just go so fast. He was saying the same for him. He loves them.
But I want to try that with the wine. And see
Yeah.
the taste, because I have never, because I buy, because she doesn't
Yeah.
eat that,
Mhm.
and I take it to my office, and it's gone.
Yeah, I think it was with a really. I can't remember. I don't remember if it was like a Syrah or
Okay.
like
It's
it.
a little bigger.
Yeah, it was just, and you were just like, oh yeah, this does not go together. And then they told you to get like a Cornichon, and like they'll tell you to get different things,
Yeah.
so you try the different wines with the different
can
things.
see.
Yeah, so you can really see like what opens up the flavor profile, like what flavor profiles really go together and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, Pinot Noir does go with so
Oh,
much.
yes.
But there's always, there's always an exception of something, right?
Correct.
Well, and I would definitely say that the wines that we make have a depth to it that I think does sort of pair well with the grilling
Yeah.
that Chaly does, or probably our kid's favorite dish is the albondigas he makes. This little spicy
Mhm.
sauce, and so yeah, I think that definitely the little bit of depth in the wine definitely is meant to hang out with that.
Yeah.
Also Texas barbecue, also that.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
Have
So.
you tried any Mexican wines? Because they have a name now.
So I live in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'm only like an hour and a half from Valle de Guadalupe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go there, and I have a friend who does tours down there.
Oh.
But I always tell her when we go, I want to go to Mexican-owned wineries, because a lot of people from the States have migrated down there and bought land
Yeah.
because it's cheaper, and
Yeah.
like they're starting their own things because it's not something they can start like. So I'm like, I want to make sure, like, it's very important for me.
Yeah.
I can't speak for anybody else. I know for me, it's very important for me to support my community, to amplify our voices, to share what we're doing. Particularly, I mean, this was already before, but right now in the time that we're living in, it's very important.
Yeah.
It's very important to say, like, we're here. We contribute so much to this country,
Mhm.
and we need to be recognized for all of the amazing things that we do. I actually even have a shirt saying, like, you can't love the food and not appreciate the culture.
Yes. Yeah.
You
And
know?
the people,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
And so it's just really important. So I'm
Yeah.
so happy that I got to come out here and meet you guys and taste these wines and hear your story and everything, because it's really important that we do share these stories and that we do let people know, hey, we're here. We're over here too. We're over here too. And so yeah, like there's even one in New York, a Mexican. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rivero Gonzalez. So they're like a big winery in one of the original wine regions in Mexico.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And the daughter kind of did her own thing. Like, she's still involved with Rivero Gonzalez, but she actually purchased. Do you know, like, the Entenmann's pastries?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so they had a property in New York. So she actually, and they had a winery out there that was just really small, just local for them. So she bought that property. She bought the Entenmann's property, and she has acres and acres, horses. People do weddings there, everything. And it's a beautiful property, and it's RGNY.
Oh.
It's on Long Island,
Oh, wow. Okay.
the North Fork of Long Island. So I've been out there a couple of times. And actually, her winemaker is from Oregon, Leo Mora. So he actually was a winemaker here in Oregon.
Yeah.
And he ended up in New York. So he's now her winemaker. And I was just there in October. And like, you honestly, you have to take a trip out there. It's beautiful. You would love the wines. They have a lot of different varietals.
Yeah,
And I would
ask
love for
what
you.
they're doing.
Yeah, they have they have a Cab Franc that's
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Holly loves those.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And my husband, he's like, that's a blending wine, but then he tried it and he goes, what the heck?
Mhm.
He's like, this is so good. I'm like, I told you. Yeah, because they were like, oh, what wine do you want? And I was like, this.
Yeah.
I want this. They gifted me a bottle. I was so appreciative. But I was just like, no, I have to, because I hadn't had one first of all, it is normally just a blended.
Yeah.
I've never had one that was on its own, and it was so delicious.
Well, and that's the story that we found in Bolivia. So our favorite wine was from a winery Aranjuez, and the varietal was Tanat. You never had that on its own, and
I don't. Yeah, I've never had that by itself. When you said that earlier, I was like, "Am I hearing her incorrectly?"
No, it is, but it's a fruit that it's typically blended. It's blended with big reds and whatnot. So you never ever see it.
Just like a Mourvedre. I've never had a Mourvedre on its
Yeah.
own. It's always blended with something.
Also, there's another one in Bolivia, also is Bonarda. It's another varietal.
Really?
Yeah.
There's
That-
so
that's
many
also-
varietals. Every time I
Yeah.
hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you keep up with all of it? Like, can you imagine? People always ask if I want to be a sommelier. I'm like, no, I just want to be able to know, and I want to be able to learn, and I help people learn as I'm learning, right?
Yeah.
In layman's terms,
Right.
in
Yes.
like regular terms, not in like all these fancy worded things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's what makes people turn away from it, because
Yeah.
they feel like they can't connect to it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
having you guys, like having all these Latino winemakers and having people who are just wanting to share the information in regular ways to our community, that's what helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
it's a fun way to welcome people. We always tell people here, I mean, we're not having this wide worldly wine knowledge, but we know this place.
Yeah.
We know what we're growing, and we can share with you, and we know what we fell in love with out here. I mean, we have all these memories of Yamhill Carls and Pinot and this other part of Dundee. I mean, we fell in love with that. So
I can't help myself.
yeah, please. No,
I'm like, I can't help myself. I'm just like,
please,
just a little bite here and there. Mom, you tried this, right? It was so good. It's so good.
I'm glad I'll be able to point my sister-in-law to this video. So
Yeah. So what is next for you guys?
Well, I mean, we're in the process of opening a tasting room. So so far we've had the bed and breakfast. We welcome hundreds of guests. We have a nice wine club of former guests that have stayed with us that buy our wines, and we ship them all over the U.S. But we hadn't reached the point where we are really ready to just put a shingle on the door and
Mhm.
open up. And so in the lower part of the vineyard, where you first came in, we've got a beautiful spot with a garden that we're working on, and we hope later this year we'll be able to welcome a much bigger.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me know. Make sure to send me the info so I
Yeah.
can share it with our community and
Will.
put in the newsletter and everything that you guys, your tasting room is open. So how far in advance do you guys get booked up for the B&B?
For the season? Well, I would say so.
We had a reservation last weekend for next year.
Oh
We
my
did,
gosh.
we
Congratulations on that. That's awesome, by the way.
we feel really blessed. We've been open since 18, and we were just talking the other day on the porch about 80% are people that have stayed with us that come back, not every year, but maybe every couple of years.
Mhm.
And so the weekends, certainly as we get towards the end of the summer, those go pretty quickly. We still have some spots in the summer calendar, midweek or this little weekend here that we've got opportunity to welcome new people.
Who's been the farthest travelers to come visit and stay with you guys?
Well, I would say most of our people. I mean, honestly, most of our visitors are not from Oregon. But they are mostly from the United States.
Mhm.
So,
Canadian. We are Canadians.
and I would say the furthest was maybe the Canadians, but
Well, they're not too far.
I was about to say, was it really the furthest?
New York.
fairness, that's
Yeah.
true. But well, and then I've had some friends from France come over here, but
True.
yeah.
Well,
but-
that would definitely be the farthest, I would say.
Yeah, but because our guests, they come from all over the U.S. They are booking a little bit earlier, which is why I think for us the tasting room is important, because it's a way for us to engage with a little bit more of our local community.
Yeah.
So we've started a couple of years ago just doing wine events to open our doors more. In the winter, we'll take some time off up here where we won't host guests, so that we can just allow our wine club members and neighbors and whatnot to come in and just be with us in the guest house and drink wine. And
So I'm going to ask something that my mom asked earlier when we pulled up. She was like, what do people do out here? Because, it's a little bit farther out, but it's, I almost feel like, why do you want to go anywhere?
Well, that's kind of how we feel most days. We're like, did we leave the hill this week, or did we really just stay here all the time?
Well, I haven't.
Yeah.
He's like, nope.
Since
Since Wednesday.
Wednesday. I would say, one of the beautiful things about Willamette Valley is, of course, within 30 minutes of where you're sitting, there's 700 wineries. So most of our guests, they are super into wine. Some of them new to Oregon Pinot, that we get a lot of people that are exploring it for the first time. And so they will spend 3 to 5 days, with tours and driving around and finding places to go visit and explore the wines. But also, you are an hour to 90 minutes to the coast of Oregon, which is amazing. So it's
an hour.
Yeah, it's like
to the coast.
people can go out there in the morning and have an afternoon and be back in here in the evening, or they can head to the waterfalls and the foothills of the Cascades. And so we had this cute group from Montana that was with us, and they
80s.
were in their
They were in their
80s,
80s.
and one of the couples that stayed with us
Mind if I pour
before-
myself a little bit more of this? It's so delicious.
Please do. And they came out and they hiked at the waterfalls. They spent time at the vineyard, and
Give
had
myself a
great
little bit
time.
extra tasty.
Yeah, please.
It's so good. It's so good. So website is balanzavineyard.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then people can get more information on the wines, your story. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we go more in depth in your story today than on the website, but that's exciting. Congratulations on
Well, thank you.
everything that you guys are doing. Thank you for welcoming us and allowing my mom to be a fly on the porch.
Thank you.
And she even gave you like a, hey, this isn't bad for the
I'll
rosé.
take it.
Because my dad will drink wine. Yeah, my dad would have enjoyed this, but my mom's just never been a wine person. So like I said, it took a lot to even get her out here. I was like, it's a nice day. You'll be outside. I already knew it was going to be a beautiful view. So I was just like, and then I was like, now you get to kind of see what I do.
Yeah.
The first time she kind of saw was when I went on tour, and the first place we stopped was LA. And so she came, and afterwards she was like, because we had probably close to 60 attendees for the very first event we ever did, right? It was a live podcast event, and we had people we had some vintners pouring and everything. And afterwards, my mom's like, Mija, all these people are here for you? Really?
She's popular. She's popular.
And I was like, yeah, Mom, it's been great. And she's,
podcast I ever heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
but she's never listened to the podcast. She just
Yes.
heard like the recording that we were doing there, like the
okay,
live
okay.
recording.
Oh, that's
So it's
fun.
our second live recording of a podcast. But she was like, they're all here for you. And then when she's like, this is meant for you.
Yeah.
Because she's like, this is meant for you. And it's like, I'm still friends with people I've known since elementary school and stuff. And
Yeah.
when they heard I had a podcast, they're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
We
exactly.
can see that.
They're like, yeah, because this is exactly who I was growing up. I was like, hi, I'm Jessica. Who are you? Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I get it from my mama. That's for sure. I get it from her.
Well, perfect. You do it really well.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
definitely.
you. You know, I'm just a very naturally curious person.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that I went to journalism school, right?
Yeah.
I'm a communications person, but I love hearing people's stories. I love learning about different experiences. I also feel like that's the only way we're going to learn, right? You
Yeah.
need to have empathy, and you need to understand other people's stories. It's not just all about us. As much as we would like it to be about us and us only, it's not. And so hearing different stories and hearing different experiences is something I love. So
Perfect.
thank you guys so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing this with
Thanks.
us.
Salud to
Salud.
Balanza
Salud.
Vineyard.
Salud.
Salud, my was right here.
Hola mi gente, thank you for listening to this episode of the Wine and Chisme podcast. If you would like to hear more wine and more chisme, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Saludos!